All right. If I could have your attention, I think I probably need I can talk loud, but I probably need a little more volume on this. But welcome to the Winter Middle School and JV Athletic Awards. Just before we pray, a little bit of instruction. When I call the team names, the team can come up and stand to my right. All right, coaches, the awards are right here. There's a sticky note on them, and then there is a backup microphone if necessary if one of them dies. All right, everybody understand you're going to come up here, and then if you have anything to present to a coach afterwards, feel free to ask the coach for his microphone. If not, that's fine as well. So let's pray, and then we will get started. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. I thank you for the opportunity we have to gather and recognize those that have excelled in athletics. We thank you for the opportunity we have to compete in athletics and the way that develops young men and women. We just pray as we go through this ceremony that we will honor those who deserve to be honored, Lord. And it's in your name we pray. Amen. Our first team is the middle school cheerleaders and Coach Elena Zander. And listen, please hold applause till the team is finished, and then you can clap for them all. Coach Zander.
Okay, while they're walking up, I'll talk so that we can kind of get through all this pretty quickly today. Thank you, everybody, for your support this year. This was our second year with middle school only cheerleaders. Our first year that they actually practiced alone without the varsity girls, and that was a pretty big deal. Thank you for Miss Michelle Joyner. She was my assistant coach, helped me with practices, but most importantly, Mrs. Brewer and Mrs. Eford, who sat at the games for us because I did coach varsity. It was just really hard to work here all day and spend the next 6 hours after work at games all afternoon. So the two of them sat, supervised during games. It was amazing to have that kind of help. Michaela and McKinley, my captains for the year, could not have done this without them. They were given the halftime routines and said, hey, teach this because I don't have the coordination to do that, and they did, and that was great to see them grow this year as they really led the team in the cheers and the routines. Our first award, she is not here today. It's our Glitter Girl Award. Maddie Brewer, she always came into our practices smiling. She was always bubbly. She was always encouraging. She definitely stepped up this year as a leader, kind of a captain in the making, sort of, I could see. And so I appreciate her. And she is actually with her dad getting an award for Police Officer of the Year. So congrats to Mr. Brewer. And then our second award goes to somebody who stepped up out of their comfort zone. They were new to cheer this year. She was very, very quiet, but during our little cheerleaders, I really watched this young lady come. She came to me, she asked if she could help to work with the girls during the little cheer program, and it was just really neat to see that personality come out with her, Kylie Langston, for our Step Up Award. Da, 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 da.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, just grateful for my other two captains, Michaela and McKinley. These are gifts from Coach Joyner and myself. I always give my captains their own personal gifts. You guys can come get these. This is Michaela's, McKinley's. And then after the awards are finished, you guys can all see me. I have a little something for everybody. But thank you guys for your support of the cheerleaders this year. We appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing all of you come back next year.
All right, our next team is our middle school boys blue, and Coach Dewey Scott. His assistant was Sean Ford. I don't see him today, but Coach Scott and middle school boys blue.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I was not expecting to be first, but hey, I guess here we go. We had a great season. I've been fortunate enough to be able to coach basketball here for my third year. And no disrespect to any teams that I've had before, I can honestly say that this group has been the most enjoyable, the most fun group that I've ever had a chance to work with. 12 fantastic young men, 12 fantastic players. And, you know, going into this year, there was a lot of expectations. We had 4 returning players who all played big roles the year before, and really were 4 guys who were sort of our foundation for this team, and then a lot of great young guys coming up. So it was looking good, and it was a good season. It didn't start out as good as we wanted to, but we played the first half of the year. We've come out 6-4 after losing our first 2 games, and you know it was okay. But I think the most notable thing about this team, and as a coach, and if anybody's coached, I think maybe you can relate to this. The most exciting thing that can happen to a coach is the moment when you see the switch flip, you know, or you just kind of see something in somebody's eyes that they got it. And you know, I got a chance to see that, not just from a player, but from a whole team collectively. In the second half of the season, like I said, we come out 6-4. Had good practices of Christmas, coming out ready to go, and we step out in the street and got hit by a bus 3 times in a row, and carried a 500 record into what was probably the most challenging part of our schedule. We had to go over to Faith Rocky Mount, who had already beat us 1 time this year, and I got to admit I was kind of down. So were they, but. We played the best game we played all year, and we ended up winning that game. And in the locker room after the game, you can see it on their face. You know, it's just I can't describe it, but you can see it. And I remember telling Coach Ford, I said, they got it. They got it. And as a result, we won our last 7 games. Finished the year without another loss. And boy, I hated to see the season end because we were playing our best basketball at the end of the year. But our theme was leadership from day one. You know, people have to be leaders, you know, and you don't have to be the loudest or the best or the biggest to be a leader. You got to be willing to accept the role when it comes, and you also have to learn how to follow. And I think every one of these young men at some point in time this year answered the challenge, you know, when it was time to lead, and also got behind their team when it was time to follow. And so, you know, all those things together was what made this season so much fun for me. So, you know, unfortunately now I have to give awards. You know, I have to single out some of these kids when it's extremely hard to do so, because every one of them deserves an award for some. But before I do that, I do want to thank a few people. Coach Ford has just been fantastic. Have been lucky enough to be with me now for 2 seasons. It's been great fun, and he just kind of keeps me on the rails, and I can't thank him enough for that. But it's Jennifer Carnes, Adam Carnes, both kept book, kept clock, did announcing, kept me from having to do that, and that was fantastic. Can't thank them enough for that. My wife, you know, helped out with book, clock, or whatever needed to be done, keeping me from jumping off the cliff. And so, you know, I thank her for that. And of course, athletic department, administration here, you know, the environment that they create for these young men to be able to play is, you know, it's fantastic, and we're fortunate, we're blessed. And so all of that being said, get to my awards. The first award that I have is our most outstanding player. And Coach Ford and I went back and forth a long time on all of these awards. You know, we had great input, we had stats to back up, and then some of it was what we failed. And so for our most outstanding player, he was a guy that led our team in just about every statistical category you can. Points, rebounds, just all over the court. He was a difference maker. His size and his ability to move around just allowed us to be able to do a lot of things with him, put him up on smaller players, and he just created nightmare for people a lot of times. But the best thing about him, the reason he gets this award, is the one thing that we had a lot of trouble doing in the first half: we couldn't score. We couldn't score points. We could stop you, but we couldn't score. And we needed someone to emerge, and he did that. Didn't score double figures a single time in the first half, In the second half of the year, he scored double figures 5 games, including 21 points over at Wayne Christian, which in a middle school game is pretty difficult to do. That's impressive. So our most outstanding player goes to Maddox Deems. Good job, man. Great job. All right, our next award is our defensive award. I stress defense all the time, and I think that's where, we take pride in. We're a very good defensive team. I had to learn a few things about our team as a defensive team, and that's a whole nother discussion altogether. But they never, one time did I have to say, you got to try harder. I never had to coach effort, and so they came out. So this is an award extremely difficult to give because a number of kids qualify. But we decided one kid, our top defensive player, led our team in steals. But probably the most impressive thing about him isn't the stats that he puts up. It's the lack of stats that the guy he's guarding puts up. And that was sort of the theme for him all year. A lot of times you don't know he's there. Sometimes he gets lost. But he's very instinctive, knows where to be all the time. And, smaller kid, gets posted up a lot. He never allowed a post-up basket a single time. He just knew how to play. So our top defensive player is Charlie Scott. All right. So I hope I'm not running too long, but I got one award left. It's what I call my White Star Award. I've been doing this for a few years now, and it's a hybrid of a coach's award and a player award. And it's always given to someone who I think, exhibits all the qualities that you would want a player to exhibit. And he did that. But also, he's a young man who was a big instrumental player for us, but he's also a guy who just, had to deal with a lot of adversity along the way. About the time that things began to click for us, he went down with an injury over at Rocky Mount Academy. And it sort of reset us for a little while. Stayed out for a while, came back, played the first 2 or 3 games in a soft cast. But that time, did anything you wanted to do, and the thing most impressive, whatever needed to be done, he was there to do it. If he needed to pass, he needed to pass. If he needed to rebound, he needed to rebound. Scored 18 points over at Faith tonight when we needed somebody to score points, and he did that. Fine young man, is a great ambassador for the school. Our White Star Award goes to Camden Eford. All right. With that being said, I thank these young men, and I hope we can do this again sometime. You've made a great impression on my life this year, and I will always remember. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next team is our middle school boys basketball gold and Coach Don Sampson.
All right. For me, this was new, kind of unexpected. I found out I was coaching the day after tryouts, and cuts had already been made and the team was put together, so we were into it. This first year coaching middle school basketball. Before that, it was upward, so I learned a lot. But I was told that I had inherited one of the better teams that our gold team has seen in terms of talent and skill, and they showed that right away. We wound up 5-7 in our record, but we were in every game that we played. We learned a ton. I'm proud of the growth that all the guys showed in skill and ability, and especially in knowledge. One of the things we had to talk about temporarily, but that's part of the growing process, is just showing up and putting the work in. And they did that. When we were playing against most schools' 8th graders, As 6th and 7th grade, we handled it, winning many games. I was just really proud of the guys and the work that they did. For our awards, we already told the guys, the awards are limited. We can't give them to everybody. But again, we saw the growth that we wanted to see in everybody. One of the things that Coach Adam Varnell and I decided is that we were going to give in 3 categories. One was the one just highest offensive score, the one who put up the points, the numbers. And in that, with a total of 72 points for the year, he led our team in points per game and also a game high of 16 points, which tied another. But his offensive categories were high. If we needed a big shot, it was going to come from this guy. So our offense award goes to Jaden Sims. We do not, and I reminded the guys a couple times, we don't hang banners for middle school undefeated teams. It'd be nice, but it's really important that we get the development and the growth that we needed. And we had, again, everybody stepped up and grew in some ways, but 2 guys really stood out to Adam and I as really growing into themselves and as basketball players, stepping up in leadership roles and everything. Our Charger Award, and both of them are going to get the same award, but it's they both stepped up in different ways. First, Davis Pittman. Come on, Davis. Good job. Davis is he's a teddy bear in a lot of ways. So we had to pull out that bulldog him in a little bit. Adam was really on him, and he did that. It got to the point that we were more worried about like fouls being called after the play because he wasn't going to let that ball go. He was going to fight whoever to get it. So Davis, good work. Our other is Camden Bridgers. Good job, Cam. Attaboy, Cam. Again, in big moments, Camden stepped up. He was ready to go. He wasn't shying away from it. He was leading the team where other guys were being really double-teamed and stepped up. So great job. Good job, everybody. Quick thanks. I want to thank the parents, Miss Debbie Robbins for keeping the book, as well as Adam Varnell and Antonio Sims for helping coach. It's been a good year. Thanks. Good job, guys.
Our next team is our middle school girls basketball team and Coach Carrie Rynell.
Yeah, just whatever. Yeah, that works. Perfect. All right, good afternoon. Want to say thank you, first of all, to administration and to Coach Troll, obviously, for setting up schedules and getting all the legwork done. A special thanks to Crystal Harris, who was faithful to do my book game after game, and all my parents who faithfully supported and did clock and concession and all that good stuff. We had a record of 16-3 this year, and we had a pretty good schedule. And one of our losses, I should say, did not come to a middle school team, nor was it really a JV team. We'll just leave it at that. But they played extremely well. That was probably one of our favorite games when we played Dash's homeschool. They started a few slightly older gals. But I was really proud of their effort. They dug in, and we probably gave them a lot more of a game than they were expecting. And so I was proud of their efforts there. I enjoyed this season, ladies. This is probably one of the first seasons where everybody on the team scored. Not everybody gets to do that at the middle school level, and so we had everybody willing to shoot, which is good. That was exciting. They had a lot of team chemistry. They were really good about being each other's hype men and getting behind each other, and that's always good to see on a team. We also played at Wilmington for the first time. That was a fun little trip, but truly a tale of two halves. We couldn't have played any worse in the first half, and we couldn't have played any better in the second half, but it could have been an opportunity for them to just kind of cave and collapse because we didn't see too many difficult teams and
competitive teams, and so that was an excellent game for them, and I was really proud of them. And kind of like Coach Scott was talking about, the best part about being a coach is when things finally click, when they finally get what we've been working on. And probably one of my favorite moments was when Jada, we've been working on up and unders, and she executed it perfectly at Faith of Rocky Mountain. I nearly lost my mind, and the referee's like, "Coach, are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm just psyched out of my mind. We just did that move we've been working on for months." And same thing with Katie. So proud of their effort, and it's been fun coaching you gals. You look so enthused. So we're going to start with our awards, and again, it's never easy to pick, and I had to vacillate among me, myself, and I, since I didn't have a coach, so that makes it even tougher when you second guess yourself. But each of these ladies contributed greatly, and I want to thank you individually and personally for how hard you worked and just staying with the system. But we're going to start with our most improved, and this goes to a young lady who should have been playing for the entire time, but chose her 8th grade year to come out, which I'm glad she did. She has a lot of ability, and our most improved goes to Charlie Kate Barnett. Atta girl. Secondly, we have our defensive award, and this I debated on whether to give it out to 2 people because these 2 young ladies held it down defensively and have improved drastically for that. But this year, Danica Pekarar gets our defensive award. So kind of side note to that my honorable mention for that would be to Allie Miller, who has improved her whole career with me, and just not just offensively but defense. She gets the hustle and heart. Well, we'll fix it. Our last official award, if you will, goes to our young lady who certainly led in many of our categories, was a key piece to our team, and even though she's young, we won't hold that against her, but she's got a lot to improve on, but a lot of good things, I think, to be seen. She was our leading scorer in almost every game. I think there's only 4 games that she didn't score double digits. She finished the year with 214 points, 11.3 per game. Our offense and Charger award overall goes to Cassidy Rennell. And I do want to say a big, huge thank you. I want to call up to step forward Leighton, Maddie, and Katie couldn't be here. She had an appointment. But these 3 8th graders, just step forward a couple steps. There you go. There you go. These 3 8th graders, I'm giving them a separate dedication award. They've been with me since their 6th grade year. They've been putting in the time and the effort and working hard. And I thank them for their dedication because their leadership and experience is what pretty much was our backbone, and what most coaches commented on were our 8th graders and their leadership. So I appreciate that very much from you ladies. I didn't. It was a misprint. I got it. And my 7th graders who were kind of stuck in the middle, my 2 7th graders, I appreciate your hard work. And my 6th graders, we had a lot of rebounding from Reagan and Brylan. And I know we don't really talk about rim protection at this level, but they did have quite a few blocks and did a lot of rebounding and keeping plays alive. So looking forward to the many talents that are moving on up and away from us, and hopefully again next year. Thank you.
All right, our next team is our JV boys basketball team. Coach Mitch Hayes and assistant Jeremy Carlson.
We got everybody? No Cooper. The Wilson Christian Academy JV boys basketball season was a success in many ways. With only 2 players coming back with consistent playing time from the year before, it was safe to say we had a very young team and we had a lot of work to do. We had 3 sophomores and 9 freshmen. This team compiled a record of 16-11 and 6-2 in the conference, which led them to first place in our district. This team worked hard each and every day and improved from the start of the season to the last game. As a coach, that's all you can ask for, and I am very proud of these young men, and the future is bright for the JV team next year. Guys, I wish I could give each and every one of you an award. I could say something good about each and every one of you, how much y'all have improved individually and as a person all year long, but unfortunately, I can only give 3 awards. So the first award is the offense award. This player was our leading scorer throughout the year. He averaged 17 points a game, and at times he carried the offensive load for our team. I wish him the best of luck in the future, and he was quite possibly the best 3-point shooter in the conference. This year's offense award goes to Mr. Braden Jones. Good job, bud. My next award is the Charger Award. This player took on a different role this year. Last year he played the wing on offense, and this year he was asked to be the point guard on the court. Anyone that knows the game knows that being a point guard is a huge responsibility. Everything on the offensive side starts with this individual. This player, when asked to take on this role, he never complained or asked why or said, "Coach, I would rather do something else." He took the challenge and worked hard every single practice. As a coach, you are looking for these kind of players that will step out of their comfort zone and do what is asked. This year's Charger Award goes to Mr. Garrett Jones. And my final award goes to an individual that does things that's not shown up on the paper, in the paper on stat sheets. This player is the one who, in huddles, is talking when he's talking, everyone is listening. He leads by example. He plays hard on defense and is usually assigned with the opponent with the biggest and toughest player. On offense, he may not score a lot, but he's crashing the offensive boards and setting screens and communicating. He never backs down. He is a kid that shows up every day and plays his hardest no matter what. As a coach, you knew what you were going to get every time this player walked into the gym. And my leadership award goes to Mr. Cooper Robbins, who's not here. And he gets a Milky Way because he took a charge the last game of the season. So, and I don't have it, so oh well. But anyway, guys, extremely proud of this season. Y'all worked very hard. Remember, like I told y'all in the locker room at our last game, you get better in the off season. So get into the gym this summer, work hard, and let's have a good season next year. I would like to say a couple of thank yous. First of all, to Miss Hughes and Miss Robbins, thank y'all so much for keeping the book this year. It takes a tremendous amount of stress off my life knowing that the book is being kept every game. Mr. Kevin Jones, thank you for keeping stats this year. I appreciate it. My wife, she don't even know I'm talking about her, but I coached 3 sports this year, so I never got to see her, but she supported me, and she loved me, and she didn't divorce me, so that's a good thing. And next, man to my left, Coach Carson, thank you for all you have done. This man knows a ton about basketball, and he is very knowledgeable, and I couldn't have not asked for a better assistant coach this year. I'm looking forward to working with him in the future. And administration and Coach Troll, thank you for allowing me to come back and coach at my alma mater. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
Our last team is our junior varsity girls basketball team, and myself as coach. As they're coming up, it's pretty neat as an athletic director to see somebody that you coached coached when they were in high school, now come back and coach like Mitch. So very much appreciate Mitch. Yeah, I don't know who all's up here. I will tell you, we had a revolving door at times during the season with injuries, with sickness, just a lot of different things. And so thank you all for your contribution. You'll see my daughter and Allie and then Katie McBride, they actually came up at the very end of the season because we had some games where we only dressed 6. And so that was quite difficult. We finished, if I calculated right, 16-5. We were 8-0 in the conference in the East. We made it to the state semifinals and lost to the eventual JV champion Cramerton at Union Grove on a late Friday night of the state tournament. I want to thank Coach Hoskins for helping. Coach Hoskins made my life easier. He is very good with the defensive side of basketball. He teaches it very well, and I appreciate that. Also, like to thank Mrs. Hughes for keeping the book all season. And just thank you for the young ladies for their dedication. They left it all on the court. They gave all they had. They worked hard all season. And although it was not the result that we would have wanted, the growth was exponential. And we lost to one team 3 times, I think, out of our 5 losses. 3 of them were to the same team. Just couldn't figure out how to beat them, but that's all right. That too will change. So our awards. First, my most improved award. This young lady, I think she had played before, but had not played the previous year, and so we didn't really know what to expect. But we were surprised, especially late in the season, when we had injuries and sickness and people who couldn't play. She stepped up. She started some games. She contributed. She's probably the best rebounder on the team, if not the best, the second best. And so my most improved award goes to Megan Clark. Congratulations. All right, my next award is going to go to somebody who's not in here, but that's all right. I will tell you, this young lady had a tough year, especially at the end of the year. Her mom was very sick and dealt with quite a bit, but she always gave us 100%. Coach Wayne called her a little bulldog. I think Coach Rynell would say the same thing as far as softball is concerned, but this year's Extra Effort Award goes to Olivia Hurto. And then finally, our Outstanding Player Award. This young lady was our leading scorer. She was on the court the most minutes of every game. When she was not able to score and able to do what she did well, when she wasn't able to do that, we had struggles offensively. A very good defensive player, and even though this is not her number 1 sport, maybe I'll be her favorite coach. Our Outstanding Player Award goes to Bree Little.
Maybe second favorite.
She said second favorite. That's good. I'll take second. All right. Thank you, young ladies, for a great season. Appreciate the hard work. Look forward to you coming back next season and having a great year. Thank you. All right, and it is 2:42. Thank you for your attentiveness. At this time, we will dismiss parents and middle school students. If you are 9th or 10th grade, please hang out in here for just a minute. Middle school students, you can get your book bags and you are dismissed. Thank you.